The RNLI have 40 stations throughout Ireland, most of them large boats. They cover up to 100 nautical miles offshore. Nowadays, the RNLI tend not to launch themselves due to the high cost unless it's further out to sea. They tend to call the CRBI and or the Irish Coast Guard to assist. Derrynane Inshore Rescue was founded probably over about 20 years ago. We're still trying to actually ascertain the date. It started in Derrynane on a very misty Easter Monday afternoon, and a lady was sitting up on the bank, and I noticed her out through the window several times. She seemed to be quite anxious because she was expecting her husband and son, who had left from Ballinskelligs in a small little mirror dinghy, to arrive into Derrynane, and they'd never arrived. But she didn't really want to be bothering anybody, so she got back into the car and went back to Ballinskelligs. There were the times where we didn't have as much mobile phone coverage, or any mobile phones. Actually, they had just come over from Ballinskelligs. The swell had caught them just as we near off the point here. The wave caught them and they were smashed against the rocks and both were drowned. But at that point, the village only had the big boat, and to launch it was thousands every time. A loss of life shouldn't happen over somebody being embarrassed or causing a fuss.
You have to go down the Cork side all the way down to the Dursey. We've up all the way back to Bowles, Ballinskelligs, and the next cover, I suppose, from Valentia, from the station, is a Valentia lifeboat, which could take an hour, maybe an hour and a half to come down to Derrynane. And you have the same, the Castletown Bear on the line, lifeboat, sheepboat. We're there for that anyway. So we're the in between. And as you see in front of us, all the VHFs, handhelds, control room, Valentia set off the beepers, and they relay a message to us to tell us what the incident is.
The wind and the sea against you, so it's safer to deploy the anchor. So what you do is you have to throw your anchor out, and the skipper of the boat will lock the anchor off onto the transom at the front of the boat. The skipper will then put her in reverse and drag the anchor a little, about 2 or 3 meters, and see if we can get a holding spot until eventually the anchor to stick. If it doesn't work, you have to keep throwing it out and try again. But eventually the anchor will grip, and then you can use the rope. You see, you can keep your engines going in reverse, but you've got your rope onto the anchor, onto your transom, and you just let. You have a fellow at the bow of the boat checking your depths and for rocks.
At the stern, yeah. You're standing off the stern with the paddle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty simple way of doing it. There's nothing technical about it. It's like the water is that deep.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get to rocks, because of the damage you can do to the engines and whatever, it's as soon as you get to rock, it's like stop. But I mean, the rope is used as a brake wrapped around the Samson post at the front of the boat.
Yeah.
It does. I mean.
So you have to have the fellow who's on the rope. You'll tell him another 3 meters. So he'll then let another 3 meters go onto the rope, and then that'll get you obviously 3 meters closer to the rocks. And then when you stop, it gets locked. The rope will get locked off. The crew will get off onto the rocks, pick the casualty up and bring them back and put them onto the boat. Obviously if they can, if they can't, then we'd get the helicopter involved and whatnot, but yeah, we do exercises like that quite regularly.
We did a training exercise one day, and I could be rescued from the rocks and put onto the stretcher, and I realised how cool the lads were under pressure and how professional they were, and I was scared being put into that stretcher because I literally couldn't move at all. Like, so much more respect for people being rescued and how panicked they can be and how they've been crying and stuff like that, but you're literally putting your life into their hands and you have to be trusting those lads. And I knew the lads very well at the time, but they came across as totally different people the minute it was a fake rescue, but now they played along like it was a real one. Their mindset totally changed. They were constantly reassuring me, they were constantly talking to me and telling me I was okay, and I suppose even though I knew I was okay, it helped a lot. It meant a lot because I thought it was perfect, but I felt like I was going to fall into the ocean with that stretcher. My head couldn't move. I didn't know where I was going. I was constantly moving. So when those lads, when they were telling me like, oh, I was going to be okay, it makes such a difference in a scenario like that, and how professional they were. It amazed me. So as that came into play, it was the splash bass. It was my first, I suppose, my first rescue. We were out in the boat ferrying around kids on the day. It's the thing we do every year. And the Valencia Coast Guard called Helen, I think, at the time. And there was someone with a broken ankle just on Abbey Island. And we went across and we could put the person in a stretcher, and it totally clicked with me there and how much respect I had then. So I was constantly reassuring her. And I knew what I could do then, I suppose. So that training came into place straight away.
One night, myself and Paul were in Scarabin for a wedding anniversary, and his people went out, and we were just looking at the menu, so we had to leave because we didn't order, so we had to do that and to leave the restaurant.
Running an event like this doesn't happen by itself, and even though the courses and all look relatively simple, there's a lot of time and effort goes into it. A, trying to think of an event that will suit all age groups and will be safe, and the people will have fun, and good spectatorship, I suppose, well able to see it. We also have to take into account the tides coming and going. So there's a lot of time goes into it between that and actually doing it. We usually have to set up a little bit the night before, bring down concrete blocks, dig them into the low tide. Following morning we usually convene around 10:30, 11, and it takes about 2 to 3 hours for bunting to go up. Little try and run at it. So all in all, I suppose the whole event takes 4 or 5 hours to actually put together. So this is all volunteers' time as well. You know. People are very kind and give their time. Even the registration takes plenty of time. We also do trips in the rescue boat, and this year Noel Donnelly is bringing his motorised canoes, and he is going to do trips which will be for the inshore rescue.
A couple of years ago, I got this mad notion that I was going to be a crew member with the inshore, and I went out a couple of times on training, and then one morning I got a phone call to know that I'd go out and as a crew member on a search and recovery. So went out with Jerry, and Mike was there as well.
Mike Turner and Christopher Fenton.
Yeah. And we spent a full day out over on the West Cork side searching, and it was a very, very long day. Luckily we had those dry suits on us because it was fairly cold as well. As we were heading home and the sea was getting very, very rough, they suddenly got a call out to say that there was a report of a boat adrift down in the Kenmare Harbour down towards...
Near West Cove,
just down.
West Cove, White Strand.
And we took off at, let's say, 100 miles an hour down in what I would say were getting to be very rough seas. I will never forget it. At the stage I was tired, I was hungry, and here we were taking off, and luckily it was a happy outcome.
Yeah, I suppose in 1 minute we were kind of expecting, we were having downtime with the lads, we were expecting we were on our way home now because we were watching the weather, and then the call came that we'd go all the way to West Cove, which I suppose from over there was 10 miles, sea miles, it would be easily like.
Yeah.
So we had to go down there to that then, but the two guys had jumped out of the boat. We found the boat, we found them, and everything.
A happy ending.
One of those things, if I was in trouble out there, I'd want somebody to come and help me. You make some good friends in it as well. I mean, you really do. And then you trust in people of your life.
Service is voluntary, but it is an enormous time commitment.
In summer, which is most of the time that I spend down here, is every Wednesday night we go out training, and sometimes even twice a week. And the rate of time the lads put in is amazing.
It's good. I mean, you put yourself back into the community.
It does take a lot of time.
The training's quite good fun. I mean, we get to go power boating and
I suppose it's that feeling that you can physically help, you can actually make a little bit of a difference, that people can call you, that there isn't somebody to call.
To be honest, you're proud of the fact that they're involved in it, and you'd rather them be involved in it, and they're all from the area, they all know the sea, love the sea, heroes.
Waldes is really the love of it. I've been involved in the sea all my life with my father and everybody else.